And on to debate number 2, whether it's having a cup of tea at a stall outside your office, visiting a restaurant or going shopping. There's a strong chance that you've used the Paytm app to make your payments. And if you haven't, then going by the claims made by the website, 300 million other Indians definitely have. Paytm has become synonymous with digital payments in India, but the RBI has now put curbs on Paytm operations, directing the Paytm Payments Bank Limited to immediately stop onboarding new customers. The central bank's also called on the bank to appoint an IT audit firm to conduct a thorough audit of its IT system. The RBI cited persistent non-compliances for its decision. RBI has also said that Paytm Payments Bank will not be allowed to take further deposits in any customer accounts after the 29th of February. It's added that no credit transactions will be allowed either, including via wallets. However, the withdrawal of utilization of the balances by its customers are going to be permitted without restrictions. While the Paytm itself has said that it's taking immediate steps to comply with RBI's directions, the opposition has trained guns at the government, saying that it should do more to support Indian fintech companies.
Yeah, on one hand, you've been talking big about Make in India. You've been talking about how we have to create companies that would be global in nature. Especially in the fintech space, I think India has a huge advantage to come to merge tech with finance. Whatever the political leanings of an organization, I think what is important is that we continue to promote the idea of Make in India companies and ensure that Make in India companies, if they are faltering at any point, they should be handheld like we do with traditional banks. But we have seen how tech-based companies are not being supported by the government.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And for more on this, let's quickly go across to our guest. Joining us with us is Arvind Gupta, the head of Digital India Foundation. With us also is Tushar Gupta, political analyst. Dr. Santosh Mehrotra is a senior economist. Prasenjit Bose, economist, is also with us. Let me start first and foremost with you, Arvind Gupta. We've seen the tweets, we've seen the political debate that's on this. Jairam Ramesh says that after RBI has issued an order to stop all services to Paytm banks, this will, as usual, hit ordinary citizens the most. Why has a firm with Chinese links at 1.31% Chinese ownership and Chinese investment of more than 7,000 crores, which has previously been penalized by the RBI for non-compliance in 2022, not been kept under stricter monitoring? Does it have anything to do with Paytm's vocal support on 9 November 2016 of the disastrous demonetization decision? Your response, Arvind Gupta.
Well, it's very hilarious to hear certain views which are politically tainted. The RBI, in all its wisdom, goes through a process. And it's gone through the process in the past with the Chinese loan apps, the Yes Bank's saga, with the crypto operators. And in this case also, Paytm has had issues with this payments bank, to be very clear, not only the OCL, which is 197 Communications, and there is a distinction between the payments bank, which is a licensed entity under the RBI. And RBI has gone ahead and invoked Section 35A, which basically says that they have not been satisfied with the 2-year time, last 1 or 2 years of time frame that they have given the PBBL, the Payment Bank, to make amends, and they have taken this action. It's a long process. There's been a lot of warnings, and in this, after that, they have come on and taken this action of the 29th February. That will be the sunset clause that they have exercised. Now, this is to safeguard consumers at large. And so I'm very surprised that somebody is commenting otherwise. But on the other hand, one has to understand that with the Bharat QR code, already all the operating points where acceptance happens are interoperable. The digital public infrastructure, which is the beauty of the UPI, right, on which Paytm also operates, makes it interoperable. So I think there will be a little bit of shock because of consumers are very used to that. But I think
the users of wallets will be affected is what we understand because it's linked to Paytm Payments Bank. But let me quickly get in Prasenjit Bose, and we're also asking several of our viewers to call us and send us videos of your questions for our panel. Prasenjit Bose, over to you.
At least something more should have been disclosed by the RBI, because now the room for speculation has been opened. Now, there are operational guidelines for payments banks. Payments banks are not supposed to be like commercial banks. Okay. And it is more than evident that Paytm is in violation of several of those operational guidelines. Maybe there are other violations also. One doesn't know.
Right.
But I think that the RBI should also clarify what exactly are those compliance issues? Should investors be worried? And what exactly is the kind of wrongdoing that Paytm is being penalized for? If there is there should be more transparency.
Okay.
Otherwise, this will lead to a very different kind of.
There's no doubt there's going to be some pain for customers. What the nature of that pain is, perhaps we don't know the full extent of it at this point of time, because the users of wallets, while they will be allowed to, use the existing balance, is what we understand. But further adding to that balance beyond February 28th will be difficult. Let me quickly bring in our first viewer who sent in a question for our panel. This is from Bengaluru.
So given such a restriction on Paytm, so is it safer to use other applications like other GPay or anything in the future? Is it actually, since it's been such a big restriction has put on Paytm, so can we actually rely on other wallets?
All right, Dr. Mehrotra, would you like to take that question? Because there are genuine concerns, because UPI has become pretty much synonymous with payments in India. Will this affect all UPI users, for instance, is a question that many are asking. And should they shift to other platforms is also a question that would be on several users' minds. Dr. Mehrotra.
Madhav, it's pretty clear to me that Paytm will continue to function as a platform for online payment transactions. What it is not supposed to do, as Prasenjit rightly said, that it was not supposed ever to function as a bank. It was not supposed to be able to take deposits. My real query is to the RBI as regulator of these institutions. What was the RBI doing allowing the Paytm to take deposits? And obviously, Paytm has been making profits and not disclosing on its deposits. It's not supposed to do that. So there's a real problem here on the part of the regulator. But as far as the lady's question is concerned, I don't see any issue with Paytm continuing to be used like any other UPI platform. For online transactions, very straightforward.
Okay, serious regulatory issues there. Tushar Gupta, you're nodding your head. Would you like to respond to Dr. Mehrotra?
Look, let's not pretend as if Paytm is the first bank, or payments bank rather, which has, and let's be very clear about it, Madhav. The Paytm Payments Bank can only accept deposits up to ₹2 lakh. Now, because of UPI, because of how UPI functions, keeping money in wallets is very counterproductive. This is not 2016 anymore. We have more than 110 billion UPI transactions last year. So people are more comfortable using these apps as a UPI mechanism for payments. And again, one very important thing, because that young girl asked that question. The UPI transactions are transaction-centric. They are not platform-centric. This is a very, very important point. The interoperability Mr. Arvind Gupta was talking about, that essentially means that our transactions on UPI or even Open Network for Digital Commerce, for instance, ONDC, it's transaction-centric. So you might be on some app, I might be on a different app. We can transact because we're not dependent on the platform. Okay. So Paytm anyway would be allowed to make UPI payments. They've already clarified that. The RBI has clarified that. For instance, I use my ABC Bank for UPI via Paytm. I can still make those payments. People with deposits in their Paytm Payments Bank will be able to withdraw them, use them, even after February 29, 2024.
But so what is the non-compliance is certainly a question, Tushar. And certainly, of course, as you rightly mentioned, they only are supposed to take, deposits up to a certain amount. And that's why there's a lot of concern about whether that amount has been breached. What exactly is the compliance issue? There are several questions in people's minds because the violation has not been specified. Let's quickly get in some voices, this time from Delhi and Chennai as well.
आज के टाइम पे मेरे को भी पेटीएम यूज करना पड़ रहा है, तो ऐसे ज़्यादा मैं हाई ट्रांजैक्शन करता हूँ, तो मेरे को क्या प्रॉब्लम फेस होगी? बस मेरा यही सवाल था आपसे.
The rule that came up about barring the Paytm's payment bank, it's quite confusing to the general public as to why it is done, what was the thought process behind taking this decision, and what would be the consequences on general public, what are the provisions that are still available and what is not available till now.
Arvind Gupta, would you like to take those two questions? One person talking about high-value transactions, the other talking about how there's a lot of confusion among the general public. And perhaps that's a testament to the kind of usage that these UPI apps now have.
See, there are two things which are very important, and let's not wear our economist or political hat and understand that Paytm has an interchangeable use of its payments bank as well as the app, which is owned by OCL. And there are two different things. And because there are two different things, the money storage, instead of your ICICI or SBI or any other bank, could be done in the payments bank, which was Paytm's advantage, and it seamlessly could move into the wallet and then make transactions instead of sending any other UPI instrument. If you carefully go by their announcement, they said that now they will tie up with other banks instead of their own bank in a way, which they said it's not owned, and they're, that definition that they're going by. But that bank will be replaced by any other bank, and they will still supervisory issues on the bank side. I think the consumers are always protected.
Prasenjit, are we confusing issues? Are we wearing our expert and political caps at the same time? That's a question coming from Arvind Gupta.
I think so, because I think that, those who are enthusiasts of such technology platforms, they often operate in a very altered reality. They live in a, world of their own. They don't realize the level of financial literacy in our country. You look at the kind of questions that are coming in. That is precisely because a lot of people who would not understand, would not even know that Paytm is actually a payments bank. Because the Paytm did not come as a payments bank. Paytm later became a payments bank. Now the banks are special. If you are just a UPI's platform, then you are playing a certain role. The moment you become a bank, then you have to come under regulations, and those regulations are very, very important to ensure the financial stability of our country and the financial security of millions and millions of depositors. That is why banks are special. That is why there is a Banking Regulation Act. That is why there is a strong and powerful institution and regulator called the RBI. Now, when the RBI has taken action, there has certainly been breaches of regulatory compliance on the part of Paytm.
Okay.
My problem is that for the sake of the ordinary people who are not, everybody is not at the same level of financial literacy, there should be full transparency and disclosure. What exactly has the Paytm done? How has it breached regulations? And on that basis, there has to be a proper...
All right, completely out of time. Completely out of time. Many hands going up. I would have loved to have a much longer debate. I think our viewers would also be very interested in the number of questions that are still coming up. Couldn't answer all of them, but hopefully we are a little bit more wiser after this debate as to what the implications of this entire story are. Thank you so much, Arvind Gupta, Tushar Gupta, Dr. Mehrotra and Prasenjit Bose for joining us this evening.